Hey friend, have you ever felt completely stuck? Like the weight of your trauma or anxiety is holding you back? No matter how hard you try to move forward, maybe you've been telling yourself, just push through, ignore the mess, and work harder. What about the literal mess around your house? The clutter and the cleaning routine you're just setting aside for another day. Have you ever wondered why you're not actually doing it? You know that if you clean your home, you'd actually find peace in your home. Why do you keep falling into patterns of stress, self doubt, and clutter emotionally, spiritually, or even your physical space? Well, the truth is, those behaviors often come from a subconscious cycle and they're rooted in unresolved trauma. Today, we're going to dive deep into how you can actually break free. My guest, Emily McDermott, comes from the podcast Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, and she's going to share her powerful system for not just decluttering your space, but healing your heart and your mind. And together, we're going to uncover how hearing God's voice and taking small, intentional steps can actually transform the most overwhelming situations. You don't want to miss this. It's time to create the freedom and peace that you've been looking for, even literally in your home. Hey warrior, welcome to Heal with God. As a Christian struggling with trauma, anxiety, and depression, you long for peace, but you worry healing might never come. I'm Heather O'Brien, and I've been there. Through learning to hear God's voice, I found the freedom and peace I was desperate for. If you are ready for real healing and freedom from fear, this podcast is for you. I pray the spirit of revelation fills your heart, and may you hear God's voice as you tune in. I'll let you in on a little secret. There was a time when I felt completely overwhelmed by the mess in my home. It wasn't because I didn't care or didn't try. It was because I had no idea how to manage it all. I'd find myself staring at all the clutter, feeling anxious and stuck, and not even knowing where to begin. Does that sound familiar to you? I used to believe that if I couldn't figure out how to keep up, there must be something wrong with me. I'd start cleaning in spurts, but it never lasted. And before I knew it, the mess was back. It wasn't until I realized that what I needed wasn't just more effort, it was a system, a simple way to make cleaning manageable and stress-free so that I could keep my home under control without the overwhelm. That's when everything changed for me. Now, I've put that system into a freebie just for you. It's called my free home cleaning schedule. And this easy to follow plan breaks down your cleaning tasks into small, manageable steps spread out across the month. No guesswork, no stress, just clear, doable steps so that you can finally have peace in your home. Even if you feel like you've tried everything before without success, this simple system can help you start fresh. Imagine waking up with a clear plan for your day, knowing exactly what to do and when to do it, so that by bedtime, your home feels calm and under control. It's not just about cleaning, it's about creating space for peace, healing, and the life you've been called to live. Grab your free home cleaning schedule today and take the first step toward a home that supports your peace, your purpose, and your healing. Check out the link in your show notes for your free home cleaning schedule. Hey there, welcome back to the Heal with God podcast. I'm your host, Heather O'Brien, and today I have a special guest with you. Her name's Emily McDermott. I'm so excited to get to actually chit chat with her about what she does. She helps moms with overwhelm, declutter their overwhelm with lots of different tips and tricks. And I was actually listening to her podcast when I had a wonderful moment with God, and it helped me with a client. And I'm going to tell you more about that in just a minute. But Emily, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Heather. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yay. So, okay, tell us a little bit about you, your family, maybe something that you love in life.
Yeah, sure. So I've been married for 16 years to my husband, Pat. We're outside of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. And I have two boys, hashtag boy mom. And they are 8 and almost 7. So they're lots of fun, very crazy and energetic. And yeah, I have my podcast, Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, and do decluttering coaching both in person and also virtual. I also write custom poetry for special
Oh, yeah.
occasions. So I've been doing that for a long time. And yeah, something that I love to do. I've actually been really enjoying having some time to read lately. I tend to read a lot of nonfiction and listen to audiobooks when I go walking or in the car, but I just love learning kind of new things, both about simplicity and minimalism and decluttering, but also about some other topics too. And so
Yeah.
it just kind of I don't know, inspires me, sometimes gives me some ideas for podcast episodes, and that's usually
Right.
the way that I like to spend my free time.
Very cool. I love a good audiobook or obviously podcasts are
Mhm.
always in my ear, but
Mhm.
they're just so easy because you can keep learning and growing and while you're doing life.
Yep.
I love it. So today I brought you on here to help. I wanted to share with my audience this topic that really was so helpful to me. And you coined it the 5 Bs. Maybe you have a better coin for that. So, in these 5 Bs, they kind of help us organize our life,
Mhm.
declutter our life, uh, our mental load, even. And with these 5 Bs, which I'll let you tell in a minute, I really, it brings me back to one of the books that I wrote was called But How, a cookbook for Christian solutions. And one of the topics was about stewarding the mundane. And the reason I wanted to learn how to steward the mundane, I didn't really want to, but God led me to it, is I wanted to steward the supernatural. I was basically begging God, God, I want to see more healings. I want to see more miracles. I want to see more people saved, healed, and delivered. And I remember him saying, well, can you clean your bathroom regularly? Can can you like just keep your house clean? And especially this was happening whenever I was becoming a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
and I, I had a housekeeper or cleaner. I don't know which word you'd say. They would come every 2 weeks and clean my house top to bottom. Of course, I had to get it organized so that they could clean, right? They were just the cleaners. And I was staying at home. I was trying to save money. And I really felt like God was asking me to let them go after having them for 10 years. And it was a really big deal. Anyways, I had to learn how to clean my house myself
Mhm.
while in all of the things that you do as a mom. So I was learning how to steward the mundane so that I could steward the supernatural. And I learned how to like make buckets and organize my calendar, and I'm like, wow, it took me a long time and a lot of anxiety and a lot of mental breakdowns to figure it out, but once I did, I was like, oh, I got to share this with the world. So Emily's come up with a really cool system to actually do this and teach how to do this. So Emily, okay, I've drum roll, what are the 5 Bs to help us steward our capacity to steward the
Yeah.
mundane so that we can steward the supernatural?
That I love the stewarding the mundane, and the 5 Bs have to do a lot with our roles and responsibilities and kind of that mental load when it comes to the physical clutter, which, is a whole other thing. There's a lot of episodes on my podcast about that, but having less stuff significantly impacts our ability to steward things
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah,
So I
that
just
makes
wanted to
sense.
put that out there, and for people to know that your stuff actually is causing you to be stressed. Like there's a direct link between excess stuff and cortisol and all of these things. So, but when your mind is so cluttered that you can't even think about cleaning the bathroom,
Mhm.
then these 5 Bs will help. So, the first is to brainstorm all of your responsibilities that affect this mental load. Now, this might be a little bit scary and overwhelming
Mhm.
because if you actually start thinking about all the things that you're responsible for, and write them down, you're like, whoa, that
Yeah.
is a lot. So, just some examples to get your mind going. If you're the primary person for any kind of meal planning or prepping or cooking, grocery shopping, all of that, and knowing when you go to Costco whether you already have toilet paper in the house or
Mhm.
not.
Right,
There's
exactly.
that the inventory aspect of it. And then any kind of inventory for you or your family members you're responsible for. If you're a parent, like we just did the clothes change out, the seasonal clothes change
Mhm.
out. Like, do my kids have any pants that fit them? Like,
Right.
also with anything having to do with our, laundry and chores and cleaning, any kind of appointments, doctor's appointments,
Yeah.
medications, supplements. If you're caring for a parent, also this would apply. And any kind of birthdays, Christmas gifts, any kind of gift giving
Uh-huh.
occasions, logistical planning of school activities or events or volunteering, church stuff. So that's just kind of an overview. Of course, we have for finances and home projects. And then, oh, yeah, actually taking care of yourself
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and our kids. So
So
when you
this
start
is
writing it all down, it tends to be a lot, but it's helpful to have a really like overview of what all we do.
So, okay, so my first thought is like, how far are we going here with this brain dump? Is this like a weekly assignment, maybe, or a monthly assignment, or how, like, because you wouldn't want to get
Mhm.
ready for someone's birthday, 2 months from now, but
Totally. I think the first step is really just like globally overall, like what are all the things that we're responsible for? And then the actual second step would be the second B would be to brain dump what is from this list you actually have to care about now and
oh,
do
okay,
something
okay,
about
okay, I
now.
love this. Okay, so I
Yeah.
was I was going to the next step without realizing it. Okay,
Yeah, which is
keep going.
great. Yeah. So, yeah, because when it comes to like the medical appointments or coming or birthdays, obviously we're going to be looking at the ones that are coming up most immediately. And then you can decide your comfort level, when it comes to planning. But the brain dumping is really like, okay, oh, Emily reminded me, yes, medical appointments that I need to schedule my physical, or I need to make that dental appointment for my kids, or I need to bring my car in for service. So then you actually do the brain dump of the more time sensitive, relevant things that are happening right now, and just not having any sort of judgment on it. Anything goes, like anything that you wake up in the middle of the night and it's like, oh, right, I have
Mhm.
to do that thing. Just having all of that there is helpful. And like I said, it can be a little overwhelming because you think, oh, goodness, there's a lot that I need to do, but we will take care of that in the next B. So the main thing is to recognize what all you've had kind of swirling around in your brain that you really need to make tactile and sort of have in front of you to be able to do something about it.
I gotcha. Okay, so we got a brainstorm and then we got a brain dump.
Mhm.
Okay, so the difference between that, I'm thinking like literally, okay, so a brainstorm for me, like when I was brainstorming on my house cleaning things, it was like, okay, sweep, mop,
Yeah.
toilets, sinks. That's the brainstorm part. Am I right? It's
Yeah,
like all those different
everything
categories.
exactly. Everything that you would possibly be responsible for when it
Yeah.
comes to, in your case, those cleaning tasks. Like what
Hmm.
are the all the things that they could be?
Yeah.
And then the brain dump is like, well, what do I actually need to do something about?
Right
Like
now,
right now,
imminently, or this
imminently.
week. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I like the week thought pattern of like,
Mhm.
okay, I have to get groceries this week at some
Yeah.
point, but it doesn't have to be today, or actually it does
Yes.
have to be today because I'm out of XYZ or something like that. Okay. So we've got the brainstorm and then the brain dump. And then what comes next?
So then we're going to bucket or sort of categorize tasks. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but one that I really like, it's called the Eisenhower matrix via James Clear.
Okay.
So James Clear, very well known for Atomic Habits, and he also has a lot of great blog posts. And the reason that I like how he's done it is because I love alliteration, obviously,
Mhm.
and he has the 4 Ds. So the Eisenhower boxes or the Eisenhower matrix, it's what's urgent and important, not urgent, important, and then so forth. And so
Okay.
the four kind of parts of that and where we want to bucket these tasks would be the first is do, which is the urgent and important. Like, what do I actually have to do today? Like, what are the
Mhm.
most important things? The next is decide, which means it's important, but not imminently urgent. The things that we're going to schedule and put on our calendar that need to be done. So that might be, okay, I know I need to make this appointment for, to get my hair done or whatever, but
Mhm.
I can go ahead and make that appointment tomorrow and make that call. And
Yeah.
then the third is to delegate. So that would be what would be urgent, but not having to be done by you.
Mhm.
So, when you think about grocery shopping, like, could we schedule a pickup instead? I have been delegating chores to my kids. We've figured out
Yep.
a point system that has been helpful.
Yay.
So I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to be the one to clean the bathroom. They can clean the bathroom today. So that's, yeah, I know. We're working on that. And the final kind of part of that Eisenhower box, which would be the not important and not urgent, would be delete. So the things that, okay, this
Mhm.
actually doesn't have to be done at all.
Mhm.
What are some of the things where you thought that you had the capacity? during this week or in this season to do it, but you know what? This is
Yeah.
really going to be too much. And then just be able to know that a lot of times it's hard for us to delete things, but realizing how that contributes maybe to our stress or anxiety if we have been overloading
Mhm.
ourselves, that we make room for God's best, even if we say no to something that's good. So we
That's
can make
good.
room for the best.
Yep.
So the delete one is a little bit tough for some of us
Yep.
overachievers,
Yep.
sometimes people pleasers.
People
But
pleaser. Yep.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
how we would sort of bucket those into those four quadrants.
Okay. Remind me. So it was do.
Hmm.
What was the second one?
Decide.
Decide. Ooh, okay. So
Hmm.
do, decide, delegate, and delete.
Yeah,
And I love all the D's. I love the alliteration too
I
because
know,
it's
me too.
helpful, right? It's so helpful to remember. Do, decide, delegate, delete. Okay,
Hmm.
I like to repeat so that our listeners can really remember it.
Yeah,
All right, so we have brainstormed, brain
yeah.
dumped, made buckets of do, decide, uh,
Delegate.
delegate, and delete. And the last B, what's the last B?
Well, there's five B's, remember. So
Oh,
this is number
I messed
four.
them up?
That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, yeah, there's two more B's.
Yeah,
Okay,
two
okay,
more
okay.
B's.
Okay.
Yeah, so the next is to batch. So we want to, obviously, the deleted things we've deleted, right? Those are gone, at
Okay.
least for right now. Delegated, we need to let the person know that it's been delegated to them, or
Right.
make our grocery pickup in the app or whatever. So we're really going to be focusing on the do and the decide. Those are the things that are like, okay, we need to do something about this. So, for the things that need to be done, asking yourself, okay, are there like things that I can pair with like? My favorite example of this is I like to do compost in Costco. So
Oh,
there's a compost drop off and recycling
yes.
place right beside
There you go.
Costco. So
Yep.
I drop off because I don't want all the compost stinking up the car while I'm
Yep.
in Costco. So I do that first. So I'm batching the tasks based upon
There you go.
location. You
Oh,
might batch tasks
mhm.
based upon context. So that means, okay, all the phone calls that I have to make, I'm going to be doing those Tuesday at noon. All of the emails about my kids' school stuff, I'm going to batch for that particular time at my computer. So being
Mhm.
able to batch tasks by location or context. I have a bunch of phone calls to make. Well, why don't I call my mom when I'm on the way to drop off the compost?
Mhm.
So you're able to plug in those do and decide tasks and hopefully batch like with like.
Yeah, I love this so much. So that's one of my favorite things to do is just marry tasks together.
Mhm.
You want to accomplish them, but they don't all have to have their separate time frames,
Yeah.
right? They can, like, I like to listen to the Bible while I'm unloading the dishwasher.
Mhm.
And it also helps me remember to do those things while I have coffee. This was my key. Whenever I first had a baby, I was like, when am I going to read the Bible? Like time had eclipsed me. And I was like, I think a whole day went by and I didn't read my Bible. And I was like, when's my time now? And I realized I will always have coffee. So when I have coffee, I will read my Bible. And it just
Mhm.
became a thing. And now it's when I unload the dishwasher, I will have Bible time. So I love the batching part. So batching means like items go together or grouping things together in some
Mhm.
sort. So we've brain dumped, brainstorm, brain dump, made buckets, then batched. And now what's the last B that we're going to do?
So the last B is to block, which pretty much means the time blocking, making sure everything has that specific part in your day.
Mm,
And I think that one of the things that was most helpful for me that I learned from Chelsea Joe Moore from Systemize Your Life was being able to block my to-dos or
mm,
block like a certain cleaning task. So I'm the type of person that I don't like to have dishes in my sink, like ever. I love my mother. I also blame my mother for this because she would never allow any of us, still doesn't, to have any dishes in the sink. So
mm,
for me, if I walked by a sink with dishes in it all day, I could be telling myself the story,
mm.
I can't keep my house,
Oh boy.
like I can't do this, I can't do that. Or I can tell myself, oh, what do you know? At 2 o'clock today, I'm going to listen to my Bible while I unload the dishwasher and load the dirty dishes in.
Yep.
So we don't have this moral failing
Oh, I love this.
attitude And actually, there's a book that I love that's called How to Keep House While Drowning.
Ooh,
I would highly recommend it, but it's all about how cleaning and home management, those are morally neutral tasks. It
ooh, come on
doesn't
now.
make you like a good or bad person to have dishes in your sink or laundry on your floor, but being able to block the time means that you can walk by those piles and know that it has a place in your
Yes,
schedule. You
that's
can
it.
know that you have to make all of these appointments, but oh, do my
Yeah.
appointments today at 3 o'clock.
Yes.
So it's this freedom to be able to know, similar to your physical items,
Uh-huh.
where things go and that everything has a home. Love what you say about doing it by the week. That's like
Uh-huh.
doing it within a day can be kind of tough, but if we do have that week view,
Uh-huh.
we realize, oh, well, I can't do this here. Let's shift it to here.
Yeah.
And it gives us more of that structure, but freedom within that structure. So the
Yeah.
blocking part is kind of how everything comes together so we can actually do the things that we
Love
want to
this.
do.
That's how I finally found the freedom whenever I was trying to steward the mundane with my house cleaning,
Yeah.
is I tried to mimic what three people would come and do in my house in 3 hours. They would, clean everything, like all the toilets, all the sinks and the bathtubs and the floors and vacuum. And they even changed my sheets. I'm like, I tried to accomplish that. Granted, I was actually still nursing a baby, brand new baby, when I was trying to figure this out. And that's why that talk about emotional handicap. Like I was already handicapped to start with this nursing
Mhm.
baby, and I was trying to figure this out, and I'm like, I couldn't figure it out. And then, at the end of the day, I was crazy. I was a crazy person. Like, don't talk to me. I haven't finished my cleaning. It was supposed to be done in 3 hours, and it's been 5 or 10. Or I'm like, I don't know when this is going to be done. And then I tried to do it over 2 days, and I still was crazy. Like I'm saying crazy as in like I was not nice to people.
Yeah.
Anxiety does that, right? It makes us not nice people to other people. I'm like, I better shut my mouth right now because I'm like a frenzy going on, right? And 3 days still didn't work, but I figured out the thing was to figure out every other week I was going to do these tasks. So using your five little system thing of like, okay, here's my brainstorm of all the things. Now, here's the brain dump was when I was like, I want to accomplish these things and these things I'm not going to worry about. Okay, here's my little tip is I made one week called the cleaning week
Mhm.
and one week was the decluttering week.
Oh, I like that.
And so any like fun like decluttering your closet, your drawers or there's just always something that you need to declutter, right? A counter or this or that. That was on my declutter week. So just like you say in the blocking your time, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I could walk by that. Also, the floors, I'm like, that looks dirty, but I'm mopping and sweeping tomorrow. And actually, the day before, it does look pretty bad. But I know I'm sweeping and mopping tomorrow. Now, if I know it's a week away, I'll go ahead and do a quick sweep through, right?
Mhm.
I'm okay with, well, I'm going to sweep now. I'm not going to mop though, because sweeping and mopping goes on this day and I can do all of that at one time. And when I had animals, listen, I had a dog for a little while. It just didn't work out. But man, I was vacuuming every day and I totally get that. And so this looks different for everybody, is my
Yeah.
point. My schedule might not look like your schedule because I have five people in my house and maybe you only have two. And so it's going to look different. And some people are like really, like you said, you don't like sink full of dishes. I don't either, by the way. But some people like literally wash their towels every day, like their bath towels. I'm like, are you that dirty? Like, I can't do that. Like, I'm sorry if that grosses you out. I'm not doing that. Like, I just got a shower and used it to dry off. I'm okay. I'm not that dirty. I'm not gonna wash. That's a lot of laundry, dude.
Mhm.
But everybody's got to have that's why these 5 steps is really gonna help everybody to brainstorm what all the tasks,
Mhm.
brain dump and make buckets of what's really gonna happen and when it's gonna happen, like what day, what week. And I actually have a month, I even have monthly things.
Yeah.
And I love the batching and the blocking. So like I've got a car cleaning thing, like
Mhm.
well, I did the membership. I was like, okay, now I'm going to pay for it. So it's monthly I'm paying for this car thing. So every time I go by the car wash, I'm going to get one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get my money's worth. But also, I'm batching. I'm not just driving to the car wash. No, no, it's right after I have made my Sam's order and my Walmart order. They're
Mhm.
right beside each other. I made the pickup order. I go get the pickup order. I get my gas while I'm there too, because gas is at Sam's is cheaper. And then right beside there is my car washing. And a lot of times I'll go do the car washing first because I want to vacuum before the
Yeah.
groceries get in. Just like you said, so I've mapped it out in my mind. I'm getting all these tasks done. And okay, so I got to tell the God story and all of this before we
Mm.
wrap it up. Okay. I've been saving this. I haven't told Emily about this. So this is coming to her fresh. But I was having a session with a client and I knew it was coming. And often with clients, I'm helping them declutter and do steward the mundane things. But a lot of times I'm doing way more spiritual things. Okay, this doesn't seem very spiritual, but let me tell you why it is. Okay. Stewarding the mundane is really important to God. And it's not necessarily a moral thing, but he's saying, can you steward what I've given you? And the story pops up in the Bible quite often. He says, if you steward what you've been given, I'll give you more. And in fact, the stories get funny, but like, he's like, if you steward this, I'll give you a whole city. I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Like, they don't like steward money gets a city. Okay. Anyways, stewardship is really important to God. And I kept feeling this about this client, and I didn't know this. God was trying to tell me these things
Mhm.
off the books, if you will, while I wasn't talking to her. And I'm feeling like I need to teach her how to batch, but also I need to teach her all of the basic things. I feel like no one ever taught her these basic skills of, okay, and I wasn't taught these basic skills. I'm gonna be honest, like it was a learned thing, right? Of
Mhm.
like sweep and mop every other Thursday, clean your bath. Like I had to come up with it because I wasn't told that. Now, growing up, we cleaned the bathrooms every other weekend, but anyways, okay, I'm getting off topic. Okay. So I'm planning all this. I'm planning on teaching her how to like steward the mundane. And I know the things coming, and I'm actually like in Sam's doing my trip and I'm listening to your podcast while I'm overcoming the overwhelm. Emily McDermott, you'll got to go listen to this. So I'm listening to episode 117, and we will link that in the show notes because
Mhm.
that's the one with this one. And I'm like, confirmation, literally confirmation. I'm literally taking notes as you're saying this. And I'm like, now I have words to describe what I want to do. And how
Mhm.
many times do you take notes when you're listening to a podcast? Like, never. And I'm like, this is a God thing. If I'm literally taking notes, I was taking notes while I was driving. I was asking Siri, take these notes. Yeah. I was pressing pause and rewriting. I was like, brainstorm, brain. And I was doing all the B's, the 5 B's. Like, that's how important it was that it went with this thing. And so I get to her and we have this whole session. And let me tell you, okay, afterwards, I it, I find out she's actually mad at me. Like, well, I literally spent our hour-long session teaching her how to clean her house and how to organize her day. Like, I made a spreadsheet for her that she could have access to. You know how you can give access to people on Google Sheets. I made a whole spreadsheet while we were on the phone of these are your tasks in your life and these are your chores. And then we started talking about, well, when can you make a pickup order and get that pickup
Mhm.
order? And while you're doing that, can you get your car washed then? And I was teaching her how to steward the mundane and how to do all these batching things. And she was mad at me for using that time to go over that. But I knew this was a God moment. And
Mhm.
I'm getting it, I'm getting you ready for the God moment. But I didn't care that she was mad at me because this is important to steward what God has given us. And I knew that I knew that I knew God was telling me to teach her this. And wouldn't you know, that same week, she finds out that child services is going to come and review her life, if you will.
Whoa.
I feel the goosebumps all over again. She didn't know what she didn't know. I didn't know that that was coming either. But there was like a divorce and there was things going on in her children's life. And she didn't know that that was coming, but she lived, and I didn't know this about her, but she lived in utter filth
Mhm.
because of the trauma that she experienced. And this is for you listeners. I know that some of you have experienced traumas and you feel like living in filth is actually keeping you safe,
Mhm.
but it might not be. And if we hadn't have gone over this and she had a month to prepare her home before this appointment was going to come when Child Protective Services was going to see if she was a fit mom. And I tell you, she needed every moment of that month.
Mhm.
because her house was that cluttered, dirty, filthy, like because of her trauma that she lived in. Real quick, I'm jumping in here just to give you a quick reminder. If you're ready to take control of your home without the stress, I want you to grab my free home cleaning schedule. It's a step-by-step plan to help you tackle your cleaning tasks without overwhelm so you can create a peaceful, welcoming space to focus on what really matters. Even if you've felt stuck before or tried other systems that didn't work, this schedule is designed to fit seamlessly into your life so that you can finally feel at ease in your home. No more guilt, no more chaos, just clarity and peace. The link to download this free home cleaning routine is in the show notes. So go grab it now and start transforming your space today. And that's just part of all of our stories. We all go through trauma and we all deal with it differently, right? But she had an entire month because of that one conversation. Week after week, and day after day, I was like, I want a picture of your kitchen. I want to see your sink. And she gave me a before and after pictures of every room. And it was night and day, night and
Yeah.
day. And it was that bad that she needed a whole month to do do a little bit and learn how to steward the mundane, learn how to, I'm going to make my grocery order on Monday so that I can pick it up on Tuesday. Cause
Mhm.
you got to, I don't know, I like the pickup order and you got to plan ahead.
Yeah.
And planning ahead is really part of stewarding the mundane, right? And so, anyways, she passed her whatever with flying colors. And it's like this, wow, God loves me enough to tell me to clean my house. Yeah,
Mhm.
he does. He loves you enough to tell you that this thing's coming up and to prepare us for the things that we don't know that are coming our way, the storms that are coming our way. That's emotionally draining in itself,
Mhm.
right? To have someone come into your home and see if you're a fit mom, that's hard. And having to clean your house on top of all that and all the trauma that you're going through with your marriage and everything, God will prepare you for the moment that comes your way. And I just declare that over you, listeners, warriors. If God is putting this in your ear, it's for a reason, it's for a purpose. It's a divine wake up moment that it's okay and it's time to steward what God has been giving you. And you can use these tools that we've given you today to start organizing your life. Get out a Google spreadsheet, do the 5 B's. We're going to go over them again. Brainstorm, brain dump, make some buckets, batch, and block. If you can do these things and then get it in your calendar. So after we made all of these things in the Google spreadsheet, we got the calendar out in the
Mhm.
phone. She had an iPhone, so I understand iPhones, right? You open up an appointment and you make it. You say, I'm going to sweep and mop every other Thursday. And you never have to make this appointment again on your calendar. You
Right.
just say repeat every other week. It does take a moment to do the first time. I get that. But once you do it, then it's done. And so I just challenge you today, listener, if the Lord's speaking to you, if the Holy Spirit's stirring your heart to steward the mundane, this is the time. And if you want help with that, Emily might be your best new friend to help you declutter your home, head, and heart. I can help you with
Yeah.
certain things, but she's really good at this decluttering things. So, Emily, tell us more about how listeners can get in contact with you.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So the best way is through the podcast, Mom's Overcoming Overwhelm. And you will, in the show notes every week, I have how you can join my Facebook group, which is where we do every other week, we do decluttering challenges. So 15 minutes a day for 5 days. And it's really for me about making room, creating that space for what God has for us in our lives. Like you said, in order to be able to have God's best for us, we need to have the space for it. And so that's really being able to steward what He has given us, but then also letting go of the excess that's not serving us.
Mhm.
And I can definitely provide coaching that is Christian focused, where we can use prayer and scripture and being able again to make room for God and for the Holy Spirit to move in our lives. So I would love to connect with your listeners.
Mhm. Okay, and don't forget your podcast. Oh, Moms.
Moms overcoming overwhelm.
Yep. I'm going to get it. Moms Overcoming Overwhelm is a
Yeah.
really good listen. If you like a podcast, jump over there and save it right now. Well, Emily, I just thank you so much for joining us today. And you have blessed my heart. I hope that story, that testimony of Jesus even using you in such a podcast, just give me that confirmation. It led to such beautiful fruit in her life, in my client's life. And I just thank you for that. Thank you for your service. And yeah, I feel like podcasting is a service. Is something that we do out of love and service of our listeners. Wow, what an insightful conversation today. We've talked about so many powerful tools for decluttering, organizing, and stewarding our lives, from the 5 Bs to the importance of batching tasks to make life easier. And how amazing was it to hear about how all of this ties into not just the practical aspects, but the spiritual side of stewarding what God has given us. A huge thank you to Emily McDermott for sharing her expertise and her wisdom. Be sure to check out her podcast, Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, for more incredible tips on how to declutter not just your home, but your mind and your heart as well. Remember, if you're looking to take the first step toward an organized, peaceful home, grab your free home cleaning schedule in the show notes. And thanks for listening. We're praying blessings and favor chase you down. I'm Heather O'Brien, and it's been such an honor to be in your earbuds today on the Heal with God podcast. If you're looking to hear God's voice, heal from the inside out, and maybe even share a laugh or two, you're definitely in the right place. Every Monday, we bring you powerful interviews and practical tips to support your healing journey. And every Thursday, join me for a Pray and Declare episode, as it's like a spiritual spa treatment to realign your heart with God. Just a quick reminder, while the content here is meant to inspire and guide, it's not a substitute for professional care from your physician or therapist. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Join us back every Monday and Thursday. And until then, I'm praying blessings and favor will chase you down.